You are now listening to the new Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time at BringDownTheBand.com, and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Sun King Brewery. Support the new Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You are now tuned in to the new Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7. The entire crew is here. We just had a very interesting conversation. But minus Spoolz, shout out to the homie Spoolz, taking care of some important business on his side. We miss you, bro. It's coming off a good, interesting conversation. I don't want to talk about it because my blood pressure might get up, but just know that I found out that a couple more members of the crew hate on great music. We're not gonna go down that road. My man Jay Moore is in the building. What's happening, sir?
You know what it is, episode 211. Glad I didn't have to get caught up in no 187. You know how we get down.
How's everything your way, man? You good?
Good, man. Good.
Okay. Rest to death as always. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving.
Hey, it's DJ Metronome.
Hey, DJ Metronome, mask on. Stand
Hey.
What's up?
Shout out to Mark McGuire. Shout out to the Cardinals. My man DJ Jay Diff. What's happening, man?
Salutations. What's good?
Man, I can't call it. I see you got the Printfinity joint on. I see you with the flame.
Yes, sir.
Could you
use the hate word rather loosely, good sir?
Why is it that whenever I introduce you and I always give you props for the great work that you do with your clothing and everything, you jump right into something that I said that was negative? At least let me give you your flowers first, bro.
Mike, the way you usually start off is always some kind of slight slander, but you can get away with it because can't nobody talk while you introducing the cast or whatnot. So you slip it in. You slip it in here and there. So I just have to check you on it. That's all.
I feel you. Keep me on my square, brother. Keep me on my square. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I apologize, maybe. Rounding out the squad.
Own it. You ain't gotta apologize. It's cool.
Keep me on my square, brother. Rounding out the squad, live from Bringing Down the Band headquarters. Fully stocked with Sun King, my man Lonegevity. How are you, sir?
Feeling good. Feeling great. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How's my lamp?
Still burning bright.
All right. One of these days, I'm gonna do like Spoolz said. Just go to Target and see if I can find me one. Let's
Might
see.
be a smart idea.
Perhaps. Gotta check the price on it. Before we get started, let's see here. Looks like we have a new president-elect and vice president-elect, y'all. Some things happened as we were last together. How long before the foolish
things happen?
Things happen out there. How long before the foolishness stops from old boy? Because you know he only about to get revved up. So what you got about December before, maybe middle December before he stopped acting a fool, or what's going on? Give me predictions before we get started. How long before 45 calm down and go back the hole that he crawled out of?
I think he's gonna try to start some kind of revolution on his own. He feeling kind of high and mighty. He gonna try to take all these followers that he got and try to do something. That's kind of what I got a feeling about.
All right, that's quick and to the point. Jay Moore, give me a quick one, man. Just give me a date real quick, and I'm gonna go to Lone before we get started.
I think he's going to go home for Christmas break or whatever it is he's going to try to do, go back to the Trump Tower and never come back. I don't think that I don't think he in his mind, he was reelected.
Yeah.
And once they pull him to the side and say, look, man, there's no path. You can't sue your way back into being the president. The thing is, once the vote is certified, and I believe that happens in the first or second week of December, and there's nothing that he can do, he's just going to completely check out, and he's going to be so upset because it hurts even more because he lost to Joe Biden. And
he really hates that.
He called him names the whole time, Sleepy Joe.
Joe.
Tried to slander his son and this, that, and the third, and it just didn't work. And it could have been anybody else, but the fact that it's Joe Biden really hurts him.
Second week of December, you said.
Whenever the electoral representatives actually vote for real, which, because honestly, all our votes are just kind of like ceremonial, the electoral college gets together and when they have to go ahead and vote.
Shout out to the flood. 45 can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah. So after that, like I said, I think he'll go back to Mar-a-Lago or the Trump Tower. And then when they're like, hey, Mr. President, you need to come back for this, he's going to be like, I don't have to come back for a goddamn thing. And we're not going to see him. I honestly think, because he's not there he doesn't want to shake hands. He doesn't want to be a gracious loser. This is not part of his makeup.
I really think this is hilarious. So I can't wait to see him.
He ain't about to disappear, though.
He's not about to disappear, but he's.
Oh, no, he ain't going nowhere.
He's going to be on TV.
But I tell all the people who work for him, like, the thing is, like, some of these people are going to find themselves in a rough place because it's like, look, Fox News can't hire everybody. So, you all are going to. It's going to be hard for a lot of these people to get jobs outside of some conservative media outlet. It's going to be interesting.
Be clear, I'm not laughing at people losing their jobs. I'm not saying that, but I get your point. Loan. Speaking of loan, talk to me, man. Give me a quick one. 2 weeks. It's going to drag off into next year once he's completely.
I think it depends on if he's legitimately going to try to run again.
Oh, okay.
Years.
Okay. I don't see that.
I honestly have no idea what this guy's going to do. I hope he just like falls off a cliff somewhere, but I don't think that's going to happen. The quicker he's out of the way, ooh. But yeah, I don't know, man. I honestly don't know what to expect from him. Like he could try to fight it all the way to the end, pull some shenanigans. I think he's gonna continue this narrative that the election was stolen from him, probably until he dies.
I agree.
Definitely.
I agree.
And so it's just like he just can't go away fast enough for me. And he literally has said that the election has been that he. I mean, it's such trash. Like any state that he lost.
Mm-hmm.
He said there's fraud, and every state that he won, there isn't. It's like it's not how it works.
Yeah. You know how how much bullshit it is to be like just to say a whole state is fraud with zero proof, like just to come out and be like, yeah, this whole state is a fraud.
He's been doing this his whole career, even in his when him and Hillary were debating during those presidential debates. He was on that same shit then, and she was giving example after example where he pretty much said he was cheated or should have got this. He was upset because he didn't win a Grammy or an Oscar or some shit. He said he was cheated out of that for
no, it was an Emmy. He thought he should have won an Emmy for his show.
Yeah, for The Apprentice. It's like he always thinks he's been cheated, but I don't know. I don't think him and his cronies are going anywhere. The Make America Great Again hat is the new Stars and Bars flag.
But what's crazy? You know what a lot of people don't remember because it wasn't particularly popular and it wasn't a great show, but I watched it. Like at one point, Donald Trump had a partnership with TV One, which is owned by Kathy Hughes and is also a part of the Urban One, Radio One conglomerate, where basically they did a version of The Bachelorette, but they did it with 𝗀𝗲, and like some of y'all might know her from America's Next Top Model. Like that was a Donald Trump production. Like that's how much of a flip he has done. Like it, and how much we flipped on him. Like he was doing programming with TV One and still only got 8% of the black vote, which is still a lot.
That's a lot, but I mean, at this.
But the thing is, it's actually not 8% because when they do exit polling, they only do the people who voted that day. So when they talk about, and 100 million people voted early or through the mail. And so it's only 8% of the people who voted that day. So probably when you break, because a lot of people wanted to get real fly and say, look at how much more support Donald Trump got from black men during the election. I was like, those are the dudes that showed up the day of and didn't have the wherewithal to vote early or to go ahead and cast a ballot early through the mail.
He didn't want his folks going.
It's not 20% of black men. It's just 20% of the dudes who showed up that day.
Well, at the end of the day, it looks like it's a wrap. That's all I care about. And then we just have to hold Biden and Harris accountable, and we'll see what they do. Let's go ahead and jump into
B.
this is the first topic I have on the list. Russ was in the news because he retweeted an old tweet from Lil Pump. If you remember, Lil Pump and J. Cole had some issues. J. Cole had that record where he was kind of talking. I cannot remember the name of that joint where he was kind of talking about, kind of schooling some of the younger artists about how they should come up and
middle child.
Like, I don't hate y'all. I just see what y'all doing. I've been there before. And like Russ retweeted a post where he said, "Me and J. Cole are cool now. So it's fuck Russ." He was basically hating on Russ. And Russ was like, "I'll never forgive y'all for making Lil Pump an actual thing." And there's a comment where he was on the Joe Budden podcast in 2019. It says basically what's happened is you've allowed 13-year-old white kids to tell the world what hip hop culture is. Told Joe Budden on his pull-up series. He said, "That's the problem. I'm done biting my tongue. There are people like the Lil Pumps and Smoke Perps and just the people who are using the fact that hip hop is the coolest thing to be doing right now. They're using that as a marketing tool to be buffoons. They're literally telling the rest of the world that this is what it means to be black in a sense. And that's the problem." And if you think about it, Lil Pump, who was Little Pimp at that goofy ass rally, he's lost over 200,000 followers since he endorsed Trump. So what do you guys think about that? Like when he's basically talking about, the younger 13, 14-year-old suburban white kids basically telling the world or, the hip hop culture, being described through the eyes of them. What do you guys think about that? Is there any truth to what he said? Lone, I'll come into you first. What do you think about what Russ said in regards to those younger people and just the culture overall?
This kind of goes back to a conversation we had a few weeks ago where we talked about there's a difference between hip hop and rap a little bit.
Okay.
At least I think we had that conversation.
Yeah.
But, just because a lot of these white kids are rapping doesn't necessarily mean that they're a part of hip hop culture. So I kind of agree with what Russ is saying. If he said fans are responsible for it, though, I feel like this is another conversation that we've had as well. Like,
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, fans. The thing is you can't control the fans, right?
Well, even if you take the fan equation out of it, you can look at the second part where he said they're using that, they being the Little Pumps and the Smoke Perps are the people that are using the fact that hip hop is the coolest thing right now. They're using that as a marketing tool to be buffoons. Right. That part. We can even talk about that part.
Yeah, but I think what I would probably say is that if whatever that thing is, whether it's hip hop or whether it's rock music or whatever, they're going to be buffoons in whatever it's going to be. I don't think it has any merit to the fact that it's actually hip hop. I just think hip hop is that current, whatever you want to call it, entity to allow people to get there. So I think there maybe, so yeah, I mean, is it still like a form of like culture appropriation in a way? Yes. Is it still kind of bastardizing what it is? Absolutely. But I think the people that are doing this, they don't care. And so, and I don't think they care that if it's, well, maybe some of them do, but I don't think it really matters to them what it is that they're chasing popularity. They're not chasing.
That's a good point.
Hip hop criteria, culture, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Anyways,
more about the popularity chasing the clout.
Yeah. So,
I can take that too. It kind of goes hand in hand with a few conversations that we've had before. A lot of this has to do with the social media age and Instagram. Lil Pump got famous off just doing goofy ass shit in public, like walking in stores, cussing people out or tipping shit over, and he just so happened to make music, or he called it music or whatnot. But unfortunately, a lot of these cats use hip hop and rap as their umbrella, and then in the next breath they go say, "I'm not a rapper." Well, we don't really want you in the culture any goddamn way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because it's just stupid. But as far as fans are concerned, to Lone's point, popularity is key. Because I mean, everybody, we all know somebody that might have listened to hip hop when we was in like high school or whatever, but they've moved on. They don't really fuck with it no more. 9 times out of 10, they're probably Trump supporters. You know what I'm saying? Right now. But Lil Pump, just like him saying that he supports Trump, when he brought him out at the rally, he's talking about thanks for bringing our troops home. What troops has Donald Trump brought home? You know what I'm saying? It's obvious he doesn't have a clue of what's going on out here. He's just talking shit, trying to get some pub for the most part. So I can kind of see where he's coming from, but at the end of the day, the true heads and people that really fuck with the culture know that Lil Pump is not that.
Right.
Let me ask you this, and I will ask you the flip side to the question that I asked them to kind of change it up a little bit. Do you give Russ peace? Do you give him props for coming out and saying this? Because on so many levels, we always talk about what's not addressed, things that go on. Well, and people always say, well, if it bothers you so much, say it. But there's a lot of people that won't say that. How do you feel about him actually jumping out and saying something like that? I personally give him credit for saying it because it might not be the most popular thing to say.
Well, this is the thing about hip hop in 2020, especially. It's completely analytics driven.
Yep.
Not to say that it hasn't been analytics driven before. Of course, people check the sound scan, of course, what records were sold, what videos were played, what songs were played on the radio as far as your BDS was concerned. But now it's almost completely driven by, hey, what's streaming? Okay, how many downloads? It's not even really downloads. It really is about streaming numbers, which is crazy to me. When I feel like that's why you don't see certain artists rush to come back to the game. Like, say, just example, somebody like Rihanna. You know, Rihanna is used to actually selling people records.
Yeah.
And she's been gone just long enough to where if she puts out an album, she's going to be dependent on people streaming it. You know, and those 13 and 14-year-old kids in the suburbs, they're the ones with the, I mean, everybody has a smartphone at this point, but, you know, like there's way more of them that have these smartphones. So when you go on to YouTube or you, I'm not sure exactly what analytics are available for people to look at on Spotify, it'll say how many millions of times a song is played. And you'll be astounded at a song that you like, okay, this song is just okay, but because you don't know the artist. Like, I don't know about, like, it sounds crazy. And like, this is what definitely makes me a new old head. Like, I thought Lil Pump was dead.
What?
I don't know. Yeah, but I
ain't gonna front.
But like when I said that to somebody, it's like, oh, you must be thinking of Lil Peep.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's what I'm thinking of. So when they said Lil Pump or Lil Pimp or as Dr.
Please
Donald
don't
Trump.
Say Dr. Trump. Damn.
I'm thinking of Dr. Jill Biden, you know, our new first lady.
Dr. Ben Carson that doesn't know how to put a mask on his face and he's a surgeon.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We actually do that. Do that.
But anyways, I'm just saying that better, you know, it was about clout. I feel like for Lil Pump, because the song that somebody reminded me of was the song he did with Kanye.
That shit was whack.
The Squares.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, and you know what's messed up? Lil Pump, like maybe he finds a way to perform it, but now that Kanye's all sanctified, he's not performing that song anymore.
Nah, and we don't care. We don't actually want to see that song performed ever again.
So I mean, to a certain extent, like remember, like when we were 13 or 14, the stuff that we were going to go buy. I remember going and buying, you know, a Tribe Called Quest, a Third Base, or Public Enemy, or NWA. Like with my, you know, dollars, I was driving SoundScan at that point to where there was a shift in the culture, and you know, even though radio didn't want to play it. I did not buy MC Brains. You know what? I did buy.
Yeah, you did buy MC Brains. You definitely bought it.
I didn't have the whole album. I think I did have Oochie Coochie. Yeah, I think I.
You had it. Radio, you had it. You had La La La.
I mean, I'm not going to act like
you had.
Look, St. Louis was one of those markets where MC Brains did very well between brainstorming and Oochie Coochie and everybody's talking about MC Brains. Like,
hey, Jay Diff, he was singing the whole song.
Thought MC Brains was really big.
He was dancing,
but
hard.
At the same time, like somebody who was
to it.
But you know what? Somebody, once again, I was probably like 14, 15 when that came out. If you talk to somebody who's 43, like I am now, about MC Brains and his impact, they'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
So I mean, some people don't even remember who that is.
Who is MC Brains?
Yeah, exactly.
He had one though with that joint though. I will say that. Now he had one, but I don't know what happened after that. But like Lone said, and you guys have hit on it. We've approached this conversation here or there in the past, but I give him peace for actually being able to have the balls to just call out the goofy shit for what it is, because you don't see that too often. Somebody that is a fairly successful artist.
Russ has a platform, and he makes a lot. Russ makes a lot of money, and I don't really know his music, but like he has such a following that he can say whatever he wants, because he doesn't care if his songs ever get played on the radio or videos or whatever. Right. He's got people that mess with him, and he's certified.
I mean,
I'm like,
that's cool.
I don't know his music, but it doesn't matter that I don't know his music.
He owns all his stuff, and he's
to me, everything y'all saying is dope. Like the ownership, the fact that he's so embedded into his own following, all that shit is dope. I'm just giving him peas on the surface for bringing it up.
I mean, I'm with that. The thing is, Lil Pump is a novelty item, though. You know what I'm saying? True. As soon as whoever his fans are grow up, his fan base is gone.
I can see that.
Straight like that. You know what I'm saying? He does it. He has one song called Gucci Gang that I know. You know what I'm saying? And the song he did with Kanye West. So
he's
not as popular. What's that?
You actually just dropped a bar right there. I love that saying novelty act. Like that's fire. Because that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. A novelty act.
As soon as his fans grow up, it's a rap for him.
Yeah. There's a lot of what I call disco duck type rappers out. Like they got something that will impact. I don't even want to say impacts the culture. It impacts culture, not the culture. And people will be on it real quick, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Like remember when Slim Jesus was hot for like a week.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, it was a rap for Slim Jesus.
I take a shit.
Remember my guy that was rapping that had the Tourette's or something? Y'all remember that dude? Remember that crazy dude?
Designer?
Remember the dude that was rap? He didn't not Designer. Y'all
don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm not even being mean. I thought that's what you meant.
It was another guy that was from Ohio. Y'all don't remember that dude? We used to watch his videos. Nah, man. We used to watch his videos before the show and laugh at him. I can't remember what his name was.
Before the show and laugh at him. Oh, I know who you're talking about. This was
a while back though, and he was just stupid. We was like, "There's no way this is for real."
I can't call his name, man. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I don't want to lie and say the wrong thing. It's not fitting.
No, you notice he ain't around no more.
Oh hell no!
No, I mean the thing is, hip hop always figures out a way to sift out the fakes and the phonies. They might get on for a minute, and all of a sudden people like us, because that's part of our I don't want to say our duty, but what we do as cultural critics, if I'm trying to give us that, is we'll show it the attention and be like, what is this? But it's almost like we should leave it alone, because and I know I brought up Designer, and I wasn't trying to be mean when I brought that up.
Sorry.
But I remember everybody was like, wait a minute, didn't he just do basically a fake Future song? And don't get me wrong, I don't even remember the name of the song. And it was a number one record.
And it was a number one.
The thing is, stole it from him. Kanye stole it from him.
And you know what? He hasn't been. He hasn't been back since. Even when he tried to put out that Timmy Turner shit, like people were not really on board for it. So the culture will like.
I thought Timmy Turner
the one hit wonders. And it's been, but it's not just now. It's been happening since back in the day. I remember at one point, somebody probably thought Candyman with Knocking the Boots, he was going to be around forever, and that was it for him.
Redhead Kingpin, y'all remember him? Redhead Kingpin.
The Skinny Boys. They made songs that we liked, but once the novelty or the whatever wore off, we were like, all right, on to the next one.
I remember K Solo.
Yeah, the solo was nice though.
It was nice. Okay, Ice JJ Fish. I think that's who it was, Terry. Is that who it was? Ice JJ Fish?
Nah, that wasn't. It wasn't Ice JJ Fish. That's the R&B cat. That's the guy that we would be having the raw dog versus condom sex about.
Conversation.
He would be in that conversation.
Whoa.
There's always been special needs rap out there where people we're thinking, are you really serious? And,
he's special needs R&B. I'll switch it up. He's special needs R&B.
One of these days on the pro show, man, or the pre-show, we're gonna have to go top 5 special needs R&B. Should we do that? No, we can't do that.
Nah.
I'm messed up there. Anyway, Long looking at me like, man, we lost 100 subscribers right there. Anyway, I
think you need to
so I don't know how
you need to. So now you're saying Eli Porter is special needs. So what I'm saying is you might need to classify it a specific way.
You gotta tweak it. All right, so it's not okay. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, probably. We should probably stop now. I'm sorry I brought that up.
By the way, real talk though, all jokes aside, there's a documentary on Eli Porter that's fire. It's 2 parts. I don't know if y'all ever seen it. The documentary is fire. It tells his whole story.
I actually sampled it. I sampled it for a Section Leader song.
Hold on. Is it as good as the rise and fall of 𝐾𝐿 𝐾𝐂?
Listen, man.
I don't know.
Listen, I
in my projects.
I watched the documentary. The documentary is actually dope. Like, I ain't know. They tell a whole story about how they got to the part that's went viral with the battle. And like all of the dudes that you saw that were judging, they interviewed them. Like, they grown now. Like, the documentary is pretty fire, man. I was pleasantly surprised.
Shout bus shouty. Shout bus shouty.
Yeah, there's somebody in the chat called you short bus rat.
I can dig that.
Shout out to Class 5000.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Short bus rap.
We can dig it. But no, that Eli Porter doc.
Gucci man, stupid, retarded, and I just farted. Where's my Carmex?
Waka.
Hey, yo, the cartoon for that joint was hilarious, by the way. I don't know who made that video, but that shit was funny. All right, let's
my very first DJ set. I played that song. Just let the record show.
You did. I was a witness.
Yeah. I played that song. Short but shorty.
Hey,
and it was a hit. And it was a hit.
Hey, I'm with you when you right, brother. If it worked for the set, it worked for the set. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Well, what time is it? Look, okay, we all right. I know we started a little late. So Busta Rhymes, who's still out here bubbling, man. Like, people are still talking about that album. He's being interviewed. He's he's just dropping all types of merch. Like, the wave is still going for the album. Side note, I've listened to it some more. There's some really good stuff on this project, man. But I still stand on my stance of there's probably about 5 or 6 joints, maybe 7 joints too much. So I don't know. But either way.
Did anybody else, especially you guys who are been in studios and producers, like, when I listened to it again, I was like, I felt like the mix was off. And I'm thinking, why is this so loud? And why is this? I just felt like something was off in the way, being around you guys and being around Joey French's and Mac Wolf's. So, like, I felt like when I was like, I feel like there was something that was off with the mixing on this album.
There are a couple of joints.
I will say this though. I will say this about it. Depending on the speakers that you listening to that project on, it sounds different.
That's fair.
So like, I listened to it in like one car, and I listened to it in another car that had better speakers, and it sounded completely different. Then I listened to it in headphones, and it sounded.
I haven't listened to it enough to make that determination. But when I did listen to it, it sounded fine to me. But again, I've only ran it like once.
There's a joint, the joint that has the purge horn. I think Swiss Beats produced.
It's like the
same
first song.
First or second, after the intro, they got the same Swiss Beats drum pattern he's been using since like 2009. Like that joint is the mixing on that one sounds.
He's been using that pattern since '98.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I was off. But the mixing on that one, I think it's purposely though. I don't know if the vocals were pulled back some for a certain reason to put an effect on it. But to Jay Moore's point, if you listen to it in certain areas, I can see where you say that. But if you listen to it in a good car system, like Terry said, like that shit jump out this slap. But there was the joint on Hip Hop DX where they talked about Busta Rhymes, and he said he compared rappers with ghostwriters to Lance Armstrong using steroids. He said the way he was raised, number one, you could never be classified as top 10, top 5, or top anything if you had assistance with your pen. That's what he told the Drink Champs crew. You know, that interview was damn near 4 hours. He said, period, you automatically disqualified. He said, I don't give a fuck how great you think you are. That don't make you, he said, it doesn't make you any less of a dope MC. No, it doesn't. He said, you can still be dope. Niggas are still more than capable. That's why I brought it up. He said people are still more than capable of writing their own shit, but they have to stick to the script and really write their own shit. So Lone, I'm coming to you first. What bothers you about that line? He said that doesn't make you any less of a dope MC because you get assistance writing.
I would say it doesn't make you any less of an artist. It definitely makes you less of an MC because MCing is part of the writing aspect. Like if you don't write your shit, can you really be classified as an MC? You might be a rapper. I don't know. That's the part I would disagree with, though.
Okay,
that's all I got to say. That's it. Everything else I agree with Busta on. Yeah.
Okay, but that one line, Jay Diff, how do you feel about that? Can you still be, can you be considered dope? A little bit of the steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, steroids is considered dope, so I guess so.
Well played. Well played.
But
twist.
But I mean, it's a cheat code technically. But the only people that aren't going to get you 𝗢𝗱 are people like us, though. You know what I'm saying? It's people like us, people that have a different type of concept of what an MC is, what it means to make music.
You listen different.
The majority of people could care less. Like these young cats, they don't care who's writing these raps.
I would agree.
They just want something that they can turn up to and have fun with, and such is gonna win this award and that award any damn way. So it's gonna go down in history as this was the greatest whatever at that time or now or period based off of that. Now there's gonna be an asterisk next to that person's name from cats like us who know that such and such wasn't writing their lyrics or they're not producing their beats. I mean, there's all kind of cheat codes out here going on, and Busta's right, but at the same time, unfortunately, we're in the minority in that when that's brought up.
Think if there was an award for Grammys or whatever that's like best MC, right? And you go up there and on the ballot is Drake and Black Thought and Quentin Miller.
Who's winning?
Like who wins that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you already know.
If Drake wins, then you should have an issue with that. You know what I mean? That's for MC purposes. But if you're going to talk about full blatant like artist and artistry and artist and entertainer, I think those are just different things.
Drake is an incredible artist. He's an incredible artist. Be clear.
And that's not that's not saying that he doesn't write some of his stuff.
He's nice with the pen. I was going to actually ask Jay Diff that since we were talking about asterisks. So, based off the allegations, I mean, everything that's come out, quote unquote, about Drake, a guy of that caliber who's an all-time great, if you like it or not, is there an asterisk by him when it's all said and done? When you start comparing him to Kendrick and you start comparing him to the rest of these guys, top tier echelon MCs, Black Thought who's still around, you start mentioning Hov who has the sales and has the pen. Like, is there going to be an asterisk beside him in your eyes based off what we just talked about?
It'll be cats like us because I'm not going to get on here and say that I don't like Drake. I'm with that. Drake is dope. But at the same time, he's not somebody that I consider like an MC that right now. He's an entertainer. At his early career, like Drake, when he So Far Gone and Comeback Season, those are more closer to MC Drake. You see when Drake has his MC moments here and there, but other than that, nah. I mean, Drake's Drake. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely gonna have that mark by him, considering like us. You know what I'm saying? Us and people like us who listen to music the same way as us. So there's that.
I'm not mad at that. That's a good explanation. More, what do you think about the concept? Is it steroids? Is it assistance? Can you still be great without it? Considered a great MC without it? Or with it, I should say. With it, I should say. With it.
I do still think you can be great without it. I know it doesn't sound like the most hip hop opinion, but I do think so. I mean, and first of all, we need to get out of this mode like this is something that's just very new or recent. And even we're talking about the 90s recent, like some of y'all would be very disappointed if you found out how much LL Cool J wrote for, a particular legendary group. And that's how that same legendary group wrote one of another legendary group's maybe one of their biggest hits. There are levels to this, y'all. And
all right, wait. Hold on one second. Hold on, wait. So be clear, we're talking about at least what I'm talking about. Just so I know, so we on the same page. I'm talking about the act. What Busta was talking about is the actual bars. I'm not talking about the record. I'm talking about the bars, the verses that the artist is rapping. Those are two different things.
I'm talking about that too. Look, you know what? It's not like we got political connects like that.
No.
LL wrote some joints for Run DMC, trying to punch their stuff up. And Run DMC wrote, like when you do your Googles and do a little research and figure out what it is, Run DMC wrote Paul Revere for the Beastie Boys. That's just it. It is what it is. And like, so we can't act like this is new. Does that make those records any less to us in the culture? Absolutely not. I mean,
but the Beastie Boys,
I'm with you on that one,
but I don't think that's
the thing about that is
it's hip hop. Because think about Whitney Houston didn't write none of her songs, and she's going to the whole thing.
That's different though.
Michael Jackson didn't write "I Want You Back."
But she had a voice. The only thing about singers though, singers are able to have a unique voice that only they can do and only they can carry. So with singers, it's a little more accepted. With rappers or MCs, if you've had a song or two that you've gotten some cliff notes or some help with or some assistance, that's one thing. Versus your whole career is pretty much somebody else. You pretty much Milli Vanilli'd your whole shit.
You ever seen Beyonce's credits or her albums? The list be like 12 or 13.
She don't write shit.
At least okay. I'm Adele. You ever seen the credits for her joints?
Well, yeah, that like Beyonce be using a lot of samples on the low, and if whoever was including that sample is also considered a songwriter. That's why you see all the members of Steely Dan on certain shit. You'd be like, wait a minute, Steely Dan wrote this? They sampled it, so they're technically the writers.
The only difference I would say is when you talk about Run DMC and you talk about the Beastie Boys, you gave those examples. I think what you're saying is you're actually right. Like what you're saying in terms of a writing standpoint and them, helping to write, like you said, if it's bars, it's the record, whatever. That doesn't diminish those records in the culture. I'm with you there 100%. But I also don't look at Run DMC and the Beastie Boys as upper top tier, all-time top MCs. That's the part I'm talking about. I think that's where the divide is. I don't look at Run and be like, yo, Run in my top 5 lyricists. Never thought about that. Not even close. So it doesn't hurt me when necessarily, if you want to use that term, when you say, yo, LL probably wrote for Run DMC and the Beastie Boys. I'm like, all right, that's what's up. If you told me LL wrote for Hov, I'd be like, wait a minute, what? You see the difference? You see what I'm talking about?
Oh no, I certainly see the difference, but just because like if I found out that like somebody was like, hey, maybe if you rhyme this with this, and it'd be like, oh, that's much better. But if I found out there was a whole demo out there of somebody rapping Can I Live? Yeah, I might feel some kind of way. But
that's fair.
You know, at the same time, it's kind of it's a weird thing, especially when we're talking about how the public perceives things. It's like, as people who are DJ purists, like they want to have their 1200s and with the needle, and they want to make sure they have the right mixer. Shout out to DJ 𝗏𝗏𝗀, like, because he will do this as on his rider. If he shows up and there's a controller there, he will take his deposit and go home, and there'll be no DJ for the night. But what you got to understand is the people who came to party, they don't care. They don't care if if you got the new Rain turntables that don't even have needles. They don't care if you got the 1200s. They don't care if you got the Pioneers. They came there to have a good time. That's where their perception is. You could get up there and scratch on some belt drive turntables and be doing it for the culture. And I'm not trying to be funny, but nobody's going to care if you don't rock the crowd. But that's part of being an MC and being a rapper is your ability to move the crowd.
Hey, go ahead, Lone. Jump in there. I'm sorry.
I mean, I agree with that part of it, but that's just part of it, right, Jay? I mean, part of it is obviously being able to rock the crowd. The other part of it is, what is your lyricism, right? If we're going to talk about emceeing when you're recording records and writing records. And I think when we're talking about performing versus how we're going to label them and judge MCs based upon all the characteristics, I think they absolutely get docked.
Okay. Well, and also
that's all I would say.
This is why rappers are more willing to fight you than R&B singers, because if I tell like this Trey Songz, hey man, that song sucks, it'd be like, I didn't write that shit. You know what I'm saying? But if I tell somebody, if I say, I can't even think, I'm just saying for argument's sake, Joe Budden, I'll be like, hey, that song you wrote sucks. And he's like, hey, that song was about my life and my struggle. And it's real to me. I understand why rappers are extra sensitive about their music, because you're not telling me just this song sucks. You're telling me my life experience sucks. So I understand why it's more personal.
Life sucks, B.
I mean, as somebody that has written a lot of songs, I can definitely attest to that. Yes. Nicole brings up a really good question in the chat. Would you all feel differently if you were ghostwriters yourselves, like someone that brings your work to life in a way you couldn't? I think it's a different conversation. Is what I would say.
Yeah,
I think the conversation is different.
Am I getting my publishing?
I mean, even besides that, I think the conversation about, being I think it would add to it. So somebody who's one of the greatest top 5 rappers, lyricists, MCs of all time is Royce da 5'9", and he is also a ghostwriter. He's also written for Diddy. He's written for a lot of people. I think that just adds to Royce's catalog, if you will, of stuff that he's written. It has nothing to do with Diddy at that point, because the person that wrote it, who wrote the cadence, who wrote how he was rapping it in the field, was Royce. So I think that's how I would
like even Skills from VA.
Mad Skills. Yep.
He's ghostwritten a lot of stuff out here. You know what I'm saying? Early 90s shit.
Let me tell y'all something.
Been very vocal about it.
Let me tell y'all somebody else
he's been what?
Right.
What if all this time Skills has been telling us he's a ghostwriter and he actually hasn't written anything?
That's tough.
I mean, that could be true, because as a ghostwriter, you ain't supposed to disclose who you wrote for any damn way, right?
I got 3 Grammys.
Yeah, found out, like he said,
I got 3 Grammys in my closet, man.
He's like, I told you I ghost wrote just so you would have, like, if I told you I ghost wrote, you'd be like, just because that would make my mystique higher. Like, it really was something that he did.
Yeah.
To pump himself up.
He wrote a chorus for Joe Budden in 2003.
Hey, shout out to the chat. The chat is very active on this topic. We appreciate y'all. Nicole said he's responsible for a large component of a great formula. I like Drake, laughing out loud. Writers are common in music, period, David. Yep, I feel you. Let's see. CAD, shout out to the homie. I didn't know you were in here, bro. My East Coast fam. He said LL wrote MC Lyte's verse on self-destruction, and I never looked at her the same after that. I didn't know that, sir. So you just put your boy on game. I was asleep that he wrote that verse. And self-destruction is fire. So that's what's up. He said they give Beyonce 3 words to write so she get paid.
I mean, that's the truth.
Okay.
Y'all remember the artist Boss? Y'all remember the female rapper Boss?
And more bought it.
Yep.
And more had it.
So
I didn't have it. I didn't have it.
People
but I just
found
remember
that everybody found out that she was fake and wasn't writing shit, and that really wasn't her. And she had one album. It was a rap for after that.
Yeah, because she wound up come to find out she like went to like private school. You would have thought she was like a straight G, and she was at private school. But I just do remember one of my favorite Yo MTV Raps memories is I was hanging out with my buddy B Holcomb, and we were watching that episode, and Fab Five Freddy said, "So, boss, your name, what does that stand for?" And that's my bad Fab Five Freddy impression. And she said, "It stands for bitch on some shit."
Yeah, I remember that.
Which I thought was pretty hard at the time, but it is what it is.
See,
Because it is pretty hard.
So shout out to everybody. That's what boss stands for.
She turned out.
Yeah, deeper still goes.
She turned out to be Nunu from. She turned out to be Nunu from ATL. I hear talking about.
She was definitely Nunu, except Nunu wasn't trying to dress like a tomboy.
Nah, Nunu was cold in that movie. Now, be clear. Nunu was cold in that movie.
You can't front. Don't even front.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you now. All right, I didn't realize we had got this far into the game. Lone, I guess we can shout out our partners real quick before we close up shop.
Hey, sure.
I ain't mean to throw it to you that dry.
Like,
I'm sorry.
It's like, let me go ahead and do that.
We'd like to thank our partners for the New Old Heads podcast. No Bad Ideas Clothing Company, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, Sun King Brewery, and the hub for all things New Old Heads, bringingdowntheband.com. Remember, once you type Bringing Down the Band in the search bar on YouTube and the page populates, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And as always, we thank you for your support. And now back to the show.
We are back.
We bike. All right. Shout out to David in the chat. David said John Legend, supposedly wrote a large amount of miseducation, Lauryn Hill. Now you mess with my childhood now, David. So be careful now.
Damn, I ain't hear that one.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. You're gonna have to.
That's a new one for me.
Yeah, I need some cliff notes or something to go look up now on that one. You messing with my childhood now, my younger days. We're gonna need you to pull up something on that one because I love that album.
Yeah, I do remember Robert Glasper saying that he was involved heavily in it, but I don't remember.
Oh, he snapped
about John Legend.
I remember Glasper. I remember Glasper going off.
I don't know about the writing, but I do know like Lauryn Hill tried to say that she produced that whole album, and there was like these cats called New Arc.
Yeah,
they took her to court and won, and I think that's part of why Lauryn Hill like has not really been super active because like she was basically put on Front Street by this lawsuit. That's just my conspiracy theory, dude.
Never seen an artist's career go that. I don't think you can compare an artist, her trajectory of her career, dropping an all-time great, timeless, classic album, following it up with an unplugged, and then disappearing. I've never seen nothing like that. I
blame it on whichever Marley boy she was fucking with.
Is that what it is?
That too. Look, I remember I gave my sister this was at the time I was working in radio, and I would get a lot of promos, and I remember giving my sister that Lauryn Hill unplugged, and I came home one day and like that shit was in my room. Like she was like, "No, I'm good." I know people who love that record. My sister was like, I'm not in this kind of depressed place to where I need to listen to this song.
You can't follow up. You can't follow up an album that damn cold, and just sit down with a acoustic guitar and then bring the band out.
That you don't know how to play.
Yeah,
that was the thing. Like, I think she saw NDRE on TV and was like, "Well, shoot, I could do that." And then got up there and was doing them and trying to play them same 4 chords. I was like, "This shit got to stop."
Shout out to the Flood. He said,
"Fisher Price, my first guitar."
Shout out to the Flood. He said it was the Marley. CAD said she was overrated. Chill out,
boy.
Chill out, CAD.
I ain't gonna do that. I mean, she did have some success with the Fugees. I ain't gonna front on that.
Yeah, chill out.
She was messing with that one. She was messing with the one Marley boy who played for the U. So
Look, only thing I will say is We talking about messing folks up. Erykah Badu, definitely something happened to my man Common for a little bit.
No, see, this is the thing. This is what happened, Lauryn Hill. This is when you start reading the Bible and smoking that good weed at the same time.
Is that what it is?
You can't mix the two. Okay. You can't mix the two. You can't mix that Pineapple Express and the Word, because then you find yourself in a whole nother place.
All right, so let me ask y'all this.
Let's go ahead and get to the topic though, y'all.
Yeah, let me ask y'all this real quick, because I know we started a little late, so we still good. So
about 10 minutes.
All right, so the rumor is that it's confirmed, but it leaked that Tribe and Outkast are gonna get down for a Verzuz. So
pending. What he said.
So here's my thing. One, shout out to Phife, rest in peace, Phife. To me, this can't be Verzuz if it's like Big Boy shows up and Stacks ain't there, and it's like Q-Tip and Ali Shaheed and Jerobi not there. Like, there's so many things for this to work, for me, in my personal opinion, for this to be dope, because I think everybody wins. Like, I would be torn trying to pick one, but my gut's going to tell me Outkast if y'all want to put me on record. But they have to be there for the stories. Like, you can't have, half of one and like 3/4 or something. It's not going to work. So are y'all excited about the possibility of this? Because I am, and it's strictly for the stories with me. I'm cool on who wins. I'm cool on comparing the music. I want to hear the stories. So am I wrong for being too hyped? Because I'm extremely hyped about the possibility.
No, I mean it's a great idea, but I don't see 3 Stacks showing up. He's somewhere playing his flute, living a peaceful life, and staying out of the way, literally. Yep. So I don't see him being involved in the Verzuz. We already don't have Phife. It's gonna be Big Boy in there. Sleepy Brown might kind of play the backfield in it, type shit. He'll be there.
I don't want it if that's it. I don't want it if that's it.
Yeah, I mean, because even if 3 Stacks show up, you think he telling stories?
Right.
He might. I mean, you got to remember now, keep in mind the relationship that they have. You heard how he was talking about Tribe and their relationship on the low when they had that service for the memorial for Phife. So it's not like they strangers,
because that was
on the low.
They had to do that though. I mean, he was paying respects to his guy that just passed away. That's different.
Nah, bro. They was working. They was talking about doing an album, man. They didn't talk. They have to have a relationship.
But I'm saying that came out at Fife's homegoing service. He didn't have to say that. He was in the moment. You think he's about to be talking like that during a Verzuz?
Right.
I mean, I feel you. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just being biased and rooting for the best, because that's what I want to hear. I want to hear shit that we don't get a chance to hear about between two of the greatest groups of all time. Like, that's what excites me. It's not about the joints to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want to hear. So,
yeah, definitely. I want to hear it too, but I don't see it being the epic showing that we would expect it to be, honestly. If it was, hey, I'd be happy as shit, man. Like, I literally drove to Atlanta to see Outkast's last performance together, because I believe at that time that this is probably going to be the last time I get to see Outkast perform together, based on Andre not really feeling this whole touring and being on the road type shit. And I see in the chat talking about how he loves Tribe. That's understandable.
He does.
I know he does.
I think it's genuine that he really loves him.
I do too, but I still don't think he'll show up.
Okay, Lone, jump in there. I'm sorry.
Nah, I don't know, I'm interested. I would be interested in watching it, right? But yeah, I mean, these Verzuz things, I've talked about them before. I mean, like, if Andre showed up, I'd be interested. If Q-Tip and Andre showed up, I'd be interested.
There we go. That's what I'm saying.
If it's Jerobi and Ali, Shaheed, and maybe it's Big Boy and, like you said, Sleepy or something, it's still interesting. It's just not going to have the same allure. As far as like who would win back and forth, I'm a huge Tribe fan, but Outkast is probably going to wash them. Like, and maybe wash is a strong term.
Yep.
Maybe wash is
a little strong. Wash is
that's not strong.
But
here you go.
Outkast is the greatest duo of all time. Like I don't care who you are.
Preach,
I don't care who you are. And I love Tribe. I love Tribe. But like, what are we talking here? Like,
preach, Lone.
I don't know. That's all I got to say about that. I don't know.
Jay Moore, talk to me, man, because I thought you might be getting ready to go down a foolish road up there, man. What's going on, man?
Look, let me tell you something. If I know after this election, a lot of people were talking about, it's going to be a civil war. You want to talk about a civil war, North versus South in America?
Yeah.
Put a Tribe Called Quest up against Outkast. I tell you this though, and this was part of my argument and part of what I talked to Jones from the Stakes is High podcast.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the homie weekend. Jones.
And we were just talking about like, we had a further discussion about the whole T.I. versus Busta.
Yeah.
And I think it's sort of similar in a way because as much as we love Busta, he is from that era of hip hop, even though it crossed over and he's still making joints that we care about and are still getting run. But in the height of Busta Rhymes, kind of like the height of A Tribe Called Quest, there wasn't hip hop radio,
Okay.
When you're talking about the height of T.I. and the height of Outkast, even though Outkast put their first joint out in 94, like they were still in heavy rotation on what is considered mainstream urban radio well into the 2000s. So the impact is different just based on that. As much as I love A Tribe Called Quest, once hip hop, because like you think about if you're outside of New York or LA, a hip hop radio station might not arrive to your city till 98, 99, maybe even 2000. I know, shout out to 100.3 The Beat, in whatever incarnation it's in St. Louis. We didn't get a dedicated hip hop station in St. Louis till 1999. So there is a different way in which people have experienced these artists' music.
Outkast,
and I think the difference between the way people experience A Tribe Called Quest to where hip hop was only played at night or you had it in your personal collection, as opposed to an artist like Outkast who were popping when there were hip hop radio stations and you could have Miss Jackson in heavy rotation.
Here's my rebuttal to that, though.
Tribe was done by the time that came out. They was beefing with each other. But the impact that Outkast musically, there's no question who's gonna win that battle. I mean, you see who's
take that away.
You
take that away. I'll be honest. Outkast it would wash A Tribe Called Quest.
But what I'm saying,
what is A Tribe Called Quest got to play when Outkast put on Liberation? That wasn't even a single.
Here's my thing though. The one thing I can say about Tribe Called Quest is even with the radio, even with the dynamics, even when we talk about how the music was put out and the circumstances, I get all of that. And again, I'm with y'all on the Outkast side. But be clear, Tribe Called Quest has music that has stood the test of time. And we just talked about this earlier about when we were talking about the R&B joints. I don't care what you say. Bonita Applebum gonna go right now. And it's gonna go over very well. They have joint,
but
they don't have nothing that's gonna beat nothing out of Outkast.
No.
Yeah, put that up against We Love These Hoes. Once again, Outkast would be.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Tribe Called Quest could play singles. Outkast could play album cuts and get washed. I'm sorry.
They could play a Christmas joint.
Don't do that. I see what you did there. Don't do that.
Straight
what
up.
I'm saying is, Tribe has joints that have not lost a step. That's all I'm saying. They got joints that they can play.
You talking to all Tribe fans? You know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm not.
we're all Tribe. I was a Tribe fan before I was an Outkast fan.
Love A Tribe Called Quest, but we know what we love Outkast too, and it's like
Outkast is tough, man.
Like you got to compare. Like
what group would you even put up against Outkast? I wouldn't put no group.
You can't put nobody against Outkast.
They're the greatest of all time.
The only group that you could possibly that people would probably say nope.
I still wouldn't put them up against Outkast.
Not against Outkast.
Nope.
Not against Outkast.
You really can't put nobody up against them.
I wouldn't put them 10 dudes up against the 2.
So
that's how real.
So we talking.
Outkast
So we talking. I'm just going through just real quick. I'm going through a couple.
I think we lost Mike.
Mike.
Give me that heat, Mike. Give me that heat, Frozen Mike. Nah. What I'm gonna say?
No, but for,
wait, maybe he's back.
can we hear him now?
Let me guess. Terry tried to play with the internet. Hey, you a hater. Anyway,
yeah,
you did. Yeah, you did. Anyway, let's talk. So real quick,
a certain type of way.
No, I'm not. All right, so Jay Moore, we talking joints like Benita, right? We got Can I Kick It? Is that a strong record?
Yep.
He's very strong.
All right, so we talking. As I continue to scroll, I'm old, so y'all got to
left my wallet in El Segundo, right?
Don't do that.
That was a bigger one. It was a bigger one though, right?
It was.
Jazz.
Check the Rhyme is fire.
Who got the
Check
Jazz?
the Rhyme is fire. I actually like Bugging Out, but that ain't gonna work against Outkast. Scenario would. Scenario
definitely.
Scenario
remix might be their hottest. Might be the one that Benita Applebum.
Electric Relaxation, fire.
Listen,
fire.
I mess with them too. Look, I ain't go front, man.
Award Tour,
I'll show you.
fire.
I mess with both. I mess with both groups. You see Outkast above me.
Come on, man. I know where you stand.
I mean, this is on the shelf too. This is on the shelf too. So don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But
I feel
Outkast is the greatest hip hop group of all time, hands down.
Listen here.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing.
What you playing against Prototype?
Man, I ain't got nothing for Prototype, man. If they do Prototype, I don't think I got nothing.
What are you playing against Hollywood Divorce?
I mean, it's like, there's so many, like,
I don't know, man.
Outkast, Outkast's first.
I love Find a Way, by the way.
Like, Outkast's first 3 albums, up to 𝐴 is one thing, right?
High Sex was cold.
But then you jump into the 2000s Outkast as well, and it's just a whole nother thing.
Hey, High Sex was cold. High Sex was cold, though.
I don't like that beat.
I do. I like High Sex. And Phife got off. Phife got off on that. I like that.
I ain't got nothing for Cass, man. I'm sorry. This is a situation where the pupil beats the teacher.
Yep.
Hey,
all day.
I'm with you when you right. Like, they really could pop off. Like Lone was talking about the first what? You said the first 3 albums.
First 3 albums.
They really could pop. They could handle everything within the first 3 albums. Take care of everything. Really,
I think it's close. I think it's close within the first 3 albums. But once you go into the 2000s, it's a wrap.
So we talking Stank on You, Love Below, Speaker Box.
It's just, that's it. That's all you need.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, we love both, so it ain't about. There's no loser here. Like
I said, I ain't gonna front. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm not a fan of Tribe Called Quest. That's blasphemous. But in the same breath, they're not beating Outkast in the verses. That's just where I'm at with it.
But I think a good point got brought up. I don't think anybody's beating Outkast in the verses.
Nah.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat them. Like, it's gonna be hard as a group. If you go on group for group.
That's a good point, Sandy.
Will you put De La Soul up against?
No, we cannot. No, we cannot.
Hey, we can't.
No, we cannot.
De La Soul and Tribe would be dope.
Mm-hmm.
But
the only group that I'm gonna throw out there that would be just interesting to see, but they would still get washed would be UGK.
They don't have enough. They don't have enough.
They don't. That's what I'm saying. That they would get washed. But
if you include trill ass mixes,
it'd have to be Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? Like,
it's gonna take somebody like that, man. It's gonna take somebody like a Dre or, well, I can't count Diddy because Diddy ain't really.
What about Snoop?
Snoop versus.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. Outkast.
No. Snoop.
What you mean, though?
No.
What?
I think it'd be closer to Tribe.
You don't think Snoop got enough smoke to make it interesting? Snoop?
Nah.
I don't know about that.
I do. I think.
I mean, I like Snoop, but I just
play everything from 213.
Listen, man. Now let's be careful. Let's be careful what we talking about here. Again, I'm pro Outkast, but Snoop got. Come on, man. Snoop got heat.
Snoop might be the closest that we have. I think it would be dope.
Terry is not moved at all.
The only reason I say that is because Snoop has continued to make music for the entire time, so he's got a lot longer of a catalog. But if we're going straight on hits, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I think it would be interesting.
I still got Cass, but when we start talking about washing, no, they can't wash Snoop. Now ain't
nobody saying they're gonna wash Snoop Dogg. That's blasphemous too.
Hey, David said Wu-Tang. I love Wu-Tang, man. Even if you do all the solo albums, bro, I don't know if I don't see it, man.
CID brought up a good point too, though. He said there is no tribe in the 2000 unless they go to Q-Tip's catalog. If they went to Q-Tip's catalog, that
Q-Tip's catalog is nice.
Now that makes it interesting.
But
I didn't think about it.
Interesting.
Still,
vibrant thing.
It still ain't fucking with Cash. It still ain't fucking with Cash though.
Yeah. So maybe Q-Tip.
And he had some really good albums. He did have some songs that could stand up against some Cash shit.
Yep.
I mean, if they threw that in the batch, you know what I'm saying, do we take Ali Shaheed being in Lucy Pearl? Can we throw that in there?
Yeah. I still see
you see how many life jackets we got to throw them just to keep them in the ring.
Jay Moore,
we going by all technicalities.
Jay Moore, you know that Lucy Pearl. You know that Lucy Pearl album. You know that.
No, I had that.
I had it too.
Front.
You know what that means though? That means that we get all the Andre 3000 guest verses then.
Oh, yeah. So then you pulling in Cool Breeze tracks. You pulling in
Thought Process
Mob tracks.
You bringing in DJ Unk.
Come on, man.
Thought Process.
Don't do it, 3 Stacks.
Goody Mob, man.
No, all right, man. We still got a washing going on.
And he did say, "Hey, Jay Moore, they sleep on that. Jay Moore, they sleep on that Rich Boy verse. You right. That's a good point. They sleep on that. All right, y'all. We got to get out of here. I know Jay Moore got to speak to the people. Is there anything else that we forgot or y'all want to say before we ride out?
Nah, just thanks to all you guys for rocking with us in the chat and for watching.
Yeah, we really appreciate that.
Definitely appreciate it.
We definitely.
My God, I said Outkast versus No Limit though. That's a no.
They got to take on a whole record company.
And
that's
even
extra, that's still a wash. That's an extra wash.
And even with that, I don't see it. You can only play Swamp Nigga so many times. So
and then you can play. You can make a play on that's featuring Mystical, and still wash them.
The puzzle piece joint.
Susie's crew had a partner named Sasha. I mean, they got heat. I just started thinking about that. They got heat.
I remember her number like the summer.
They got heat. All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all rocking with us as always. Remember, find the New Old Heads Network page on YouTube. Subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 there. I believe we're in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. We appreciate all the followers on Twitch. I think we're approaching 100. That's going to unlock some more things for us there. So we appreciate you all rocking with us. Make sure you look us up on Patreon. Also follow us on IG for New Old Heads as well as Twitter. Google us, find us, follow us everywhere that you see us. If you want to sign up and become a patron, do that. We appreciate all of the support from wherever you do it. And to the people that don't support us, we love y'all as well. Continue to come back and watch us and be mad. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Yerp.